We gotta believe episode 112. Thought we were gonna come in hot, come in angry, come in mad. But that fucking episode number 112, I mean, that just kind of loosens things up right off the bat. Little peaches and cream.
I'm not going to do what you all think I'm going to do, which is just flip out. We're going to stay calm. We're going to stay rational. We're not going to say mean things. We're going to talk through this baseball crisis like two older gentlemen.
A Mets Fans Anonymous meeting.
What's that?
It's a Mets Fans Anonymous meeting, right?
Yeah,
we're talking through this.
I went back to the Mets Fans Anon account, and I saw that the final tweet that was sent was like, you know, we're no longer in business. Like, you guys stay safe out there because we got Cohen and everything was good. And here we are back. We all relapsed. We've all relapsed. And when the last time we went through like a collapse, because let's call it like it is. This is a collapse. It's not an end of the season collapse, but we lost, 6 games in a matter of 10 days. So it's a collapse. And the last time this happened, 2007, 2008, I was a young pup. I was a wee lad. And I was in a different place. Now, on the one hand, it was easier back then to handle it. If you listen to, I did, when KFC Radio comes out later this week, I explained it to Feidelberg. In 2007, I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to go drink my face off. I'm going to go party. I'm going to go try to get laid. I'm going to do all the fun things in life because that's going to, I need to be happy some way because baseball's not giving it to me. Now, at the ripe old age of 36, Clem, everything else in life sucks. It's like, oh, the Mets are collapsing and I got to go take care of my kids and I got to pay the bills and I got to go to work and it's like, everything sucks now. So that makes this collapse that much harder to deal with. What makes it so much easier, Clem? I'm older, wiser, more mature. Okay? I'm more under control. And most importantly, I now subscribe to the Church of Coentology. And if you start to think about this, you need to rework your framework here. I'm not going to be like Pete Alonso and sit here and tell you, put a smile on your face. We're going to be fine. We're going to win this. We're probably not going to win this, okay? Let's call a spade. We are limping to the finish line, and we're not even really close to the finish line. But what we are going to do is rework this and start thinking about it in a big picture, long-term frame of mind. Because in that sense, we've just begun. It's year one under Cohen. It's year one of this core being together from out beneath the Wilpon shadow. And it's still even right now, even after this sweep, as ugly as it has been, this is still one of the, I hate to say it, but it's still one of the best seasons in recent years for the Mets. There would have been years where we wouldn't have even acquired Lindor and we wouldn't have even thought about a move at the deadline, and we would just be out of it with no hope. And the fact that we even competed, held the lead for a while and still are technically in it for this last 6 weeks with some hope for the future, it's still on a grand scale better than we had it, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago under the Wilpon era. So it's a little bit easier for me to swallow knowing that, like in 2007, it was kind of like, well, what's going to change? How are we going to even fix these problems that arose in the last second? Because we know the Wilpons ain't going to do shit. Here we go. Here's a little spin zone for you, Clem. Here we go. Listen.
Let's go.
Now Cohen is going to be like aggressive. Like, fuck, I got to fix all these problems because we fucking collapsed. If we just played mediocre baseball throughout, who knows? Maybe he'd sit on his hands. Now we know we're going to get aggressive, Stevie, no matter what happens here at the end of this season. And we're going to fix the collapse problems and not just let it kick our asses. There's your spin zone, Clem. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I think the one concern that people will say is like, is he going to be too rash? Is he going to be too hands-on right off the bat? I think Stevie is going to roll his sleeves up, and Stevie's sleeves, they don't get rolled up all that often, I imagine, right? It's only for the big acquisitions, the big time things. I mean, going to fucking Philadelphia, on a Sunday in the summer. That's not where Uncle Stevie wants to be. Uncle Stevie wants to be on the Gold Coast of Long Island, sipping some fucking daiquiris, hanging with Guy Fieri, just fucking bullshitting. You know what I mean? Just flying his jet.
Off the private helicopter, and he like stepped foot in Philly and was like, ugh. Like we couldn't have had this collapse happen like in LA or down in Miami. It had to happen in Philly. God damn it. I got to go to this shithole. Talk to my guy.
It is like the fucking, history repeats itself. The fact that it was the Phillies, it was a sweep in Philadelphia. But that thing about 07, that collapse happened and it was over. It was the suddenness of it all, right? It was like, boom, holy shit, we just missed the playoffs and it's gone. This is happening in August. Now, the thing about it is with here is that the fucking offense is so like there's a reason to be pissed at the Mets for losing. And like people counseling, if you want to counsel, that's fine. I said I am not going to counsel. If you counsel, that's fine.
We are absolutely in counsel territory. I'm not doing it. You're not doing it. Many people are. If you do, I have no problem with that. I had my finger on the trigger, Clem, for the Bryce Harper home run. I was ready to do it right then and there. And I just said, no, I'm not gonna. But I definitely don't begrudge. No beef with anybody who wants to counsel.
Yeah, definitely not. But like those old days, and especially the councils in the middle of the season, beginning of the season, that was when we would get hit with blizzard that dropped fucking 10 feet of snow on us, and it was October, and it was the winter of the Wilpons. Winter had come, and it was not going to ever get better. This is a fucking shitty thunderstorm in summer. We are now in the spring, or we'll say this is a shitty summer. This is a shitty thunderstorm in the spring of Cohen, rebirth. Life is coming up from the ground. Things are going to be better. It sucks right now that it's thundering outside. I got a fucking tree through my roof. It's a nightmare situation, but you know what? They're going to take it. The insurance is going to take care of matters. We're not, the Wilpons are going to pocket the insurance for their own fucking, Labor Day party. Uncle Stevie's going to take care of stuff. And if anything positive, people who need to look at the bright side of this, which has been, listen, this offense has been bad all year. And, there were guys hurt. We thought maybe the Mets scored 5 runs all series.
It's not, the offense isn't bad. The offense is historically inept. I saw a tweet. I think I might have retweeted it. The most dreadful, I think their inaugural year, maybe, when they lost 120 games, whatever, back in the 60s or early 70s, their worst season ever. This offense is worse than that offense.
Yes.
Let that sink in. It was like a 120 loss team that had a better offense than this 2021 Mets. This is what I don't get. The offense is so bad that either we've got to have some sort of outburst to even it out statistically, because that's just how baseball and mathematics and the realm of reality works, where if water always kind of finds its level, that there's going to have to be a slump buster week or two where we go bananas? Or are we just cursed? Because we talked about it on Amazing But True when we did our first little podcast appearance for the Gotta Believe boys. We were saying it's almost impossible for guys like Conforto to be batting under 200. That doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense for the offense to be as bad as it is. So either there's something to flip it, or the black magic, the dark arts, we are just cursed, because there's no other. You can't sit here. The talking heads and the baseball nerds and the analytics teams can't tell you shit right now, because what's happening is such an anomaly and so fucking weird and crazy that, what can you even say to the guys? I mean, yes, listen, you can say that there was injuries. You can say that there are guys who are pressing. I don't know why we can't hit a fastball down the middle, Clem. You notice how many fucking 94-mile-an-hour flat fastballs with no movement just get blown by? All of these things are unexplainable, inexplicable. It's how is this happening?
How many times has Keith said, "Oh, He knows he just missed his pitch.
Yeah.
The hanging curveball, the hanging slider. And it's like, yeah, I see it, Keith, because I'm sitting at home going, how the fuck is not hit into like the 10th row right now? And it's all the guys. It's not like one guy or two guys. And this is kind of the glass half full I'm going to present to Mets fans who, there's a lot of Mets fans who have thrown the glass on the ground, have taken it, have slit their wrists, and called it a fucking life. There is no way. We said with Uncle Steve, he's going to roll those sleeves up. This offense has always been kind of tricky. Even back when they were like doing better in like 19, it's like they go cold and then they get piping hot, usually against bad teams. 2020, you kind of have to throw it out because it was a Corona year. It was all fucked up. This was the first real season. Even this year, everyone was hurt. But I think finally, Uncle Stevie, and he's going to talk to, Sandy and the analytics team, and he's going to say, we got to change something. If it's Conforto, let him walk or give him the qualifying. If he takes it, he takes it. If not, whatever. If it's going to be, just being like, listen, Dom was the fucking man in 2020. He hasn't been the man this year. If there's a trade that comes up with him, McNeil might be on the move. JD Double Davis. It's like these guys just are not coming through after like years and years, multiple years of like, sooner or later you have to prove it, right? You could just, we hire someone at Barstool. Sooner or later you have to start getting numbers on a blog, on a video, on a podcast. You have to be funny.
No doubt.
That's me something.
I still think this is early for this core of like, again, using the Wilpon like line of demarcation where it's like you've got the right owner, you've got some like hopefully the right infrastructure, and now we've figured out a couple things position wise where guys are always kind of floating. You've got a few guys coming into their primes. All of these guys are still young. All these guys, it's not like I don't think you can close the book on any of these guys being like, okay, we thought he was good and he's not, or we thought he was a superstar, we thought he was a bum and turned into a superstar. Like everything's still early enough that it's still growing and changing and developing. I'm not ready to give up on this core by any means. I do think that certain things need to change, certain things need to be upgraded. And if you want to tell me, I'm not telling you that like these guys are untouchable. If the right trade comes up, pretty much anybody can go, minus Lindor.
I almost think Pete is safe at this point too. I don't think you can move on from Pete. He's proven it again.
Lindor and Pete, everybody else, I wouldn't have a problem moving any of those guys. But I think that's the point, is that we are going to see movement and trades and signings that like, I'm looking at the people who are now, let's talk about the different different fans that are out there right now.
Yeah.
I don't think there's I haven't seen many people who are still just like, rah, we're going to be okay. Everybody knows that we're like kind of fucked.
We haven't had a lead since Wednesday. That is fucking crazy. Like if you could just be rah through that, even our guy Darren in the 7 line is like starting to show a little bit of cracks.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
He's like, getting negative. Then it's ugly. My framework here is that it's a 50-game sprint and that all three teams are basically tied. The Phillies put a little bit of space in front of them, behind them now. So like they're in better shape, but for the most part, it's a 50-game sprint. And so I think there's still some life. It's like, whenever you tweet out the little lifeline thing, there's just like one little beep, but there's still life. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, we're fine. I mean, Pete yesterday being like, it's fine, guys. Smile. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. No, it's not.
You want me to play that? You want me to play that clip? I got that clip here.
I actually haven't heard it. I only read it.
Okay. I mean, there's certain times in the process where you're doing the right thing. You're on the right path, but you're just not getting the tangible results. So Mets fans, believe in us. And don't just believe, know. Because there's tough times, not just in baseball, but in life in general. Know that this is just a speed bump and a challenge. And also smile. You get to watch baseball, even though it's a game. I know we have the most passionate fan base in baseball. I know that. And I understand that it's frustrating. It's frustrating for us, but just understand that we're here together. We're all in this together, and we got this. We got this. Just smile.
Listen, you know what? The first part of his statement, it's kind of bullshit, but I think it's fine to give that lip service. Like, we're going out there with the right approach and it's just not bouncing our way. Actually, even that, because we're just getting blown away by these fastballs that are right down the dick. So I don't even know if you can use that. But the chuckles and the just smile because you get to watch baseball. Bro, watching baseball is not fun, okay? it's not like a game that I enjoy. It's a stressful burden that I bear. So when it's going wrong, my life is going wrong. I don't think of it as like, it's just like Little League out here. No, it, unfortunately, because I'm mentally ill, it like dictates my life, Pete. So fuck off with that nonsense. But then the other side of the spectrum are, the doom and gloom, the Flemings of the world. And what I'm seeing from them right now, a couple things. One, the fire Rojas, fire Sandy gang.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to move on from Sandy, I'm cool with that. Part of me, when we re-signed him, I remember thinking, I'm not gonna openly bash this because I believe in Cohen and I don't want to I told myself that I would stop complaining if we got new ownership and all that. But I remember thinking we did bring in, the old guard. We brought in someone from the Will. Yeah. And so that, okay. If you want to move on from Sandy because he's older, I think his approach is kind of antiquated and some of his methods are obsolete now, that's fine. But if you're just saying you have to get rid of him right now because the team isn't playing well, it's like we weren't bashing Sandy when we came into the season. We looked on paper, it looked like it was a well-constructed team that had the potential to be fucking awesome. And it didn't work out, obviously. And I mean, man, Meek Phil put up the chart on Twitter yesterday. We're going to have Meek Phil on Thursday, by the way. I mean, the number of home runs is disgusting.
Do you have it? I haven't pulled up here.
Yeah, read them out. Read out the bad ones. Pete has 24.
Pete has 24. Our second in home runs in the New York Mets in the 2021 season. Jonathan Villar.
I mean,
third in home runs of the season. Francisco Lindor, Mr. Worst Player in Baseball, who hasn't played in a fucking month. Number 3, tied for third, Dom Smith, who has had anybody's idea of a good season. Fifth, I guess technically, James McCann, Kevin Pillar are tied with 9 home runs. So, and this is, this is the thing. The Fire Sandy. Are you saying you do not want to do, because this is where I think the Rojas stuff, I think is kind of silly. If you're upset by the way the Mets put at bats together, that's a Sandy issue because I think it's an organizational thing. It's home runs or go home, right? That's kind of the way they go, and that's the way a lot of people do it in baseball. If you don't like that approach and you have a legit thought process to that, fine. Then that's if you have a good solution, you tell me another nerd who does it better, that's fine. If you just want to fire Sandy for the fuck of it, let's remember this, it's his first season with Steve Cohen. It's not even been a year that him and Steve Cohen have been together here. So it's and the other thing about Sandy is Sandy was supposed to just be some fucking he was just supposed to be a guy at the top of the thing, just pulling the strings, putting people in place, and that fucking creep fuck Jared Porter ruined the entire power structure the way it was supposed to be because he's a fucking weirdo creep, allegedly. So it's just I can't get mad at Sandy. I can't get upset at Sandy when I watch fucking the team score 5 runs in an entire weekend in a bandbox.
It's not that you can't get mad at them. I'm mad at them. I'm mad at Rojas. I think Rojas, I used to beat the Fire Rojas drum the loudest. And then came a point where it was well, you got to give him credit for cobbling together some wins here. And now we're back to the point of he was an interim manager. He was never really supposed to be the guy. And he probably isn't the guy. But my point is, that's not going to fix the problems. You're not going to fire those two, and then it's oh, bam, everything worked. It's hey, fire Chili Davis. Okay, we did. Guess what happened? Fucking nothing. Things only got worse. Rojas and Sandy are not your problem right now. The problem is there's 2 main things. When I look back on this season, I will remember 2021 as the year of injuries and the year of a couple cases of insanely gross underperformance. And you can't overcome those 2 things. Right now, the team is we're so brainwashed, Clem, and we went through so many bad injuries that a lot of people are dude, we don't have that many injuries anymore. If you took the Phillies right now and you took away Harper and Zach Wheeler, the same way you took away Lindor and DeGrom. Now, I know it's not exactly apples to apples because Harper's having an amazing year and Lindor was not.
You shoved it up our ass, and we were like, Harper.
Right up our asses, man. That was an MVP type home run. I mean, as much as we bash the NL East, I think the MVP and the Cy Young are going to come from the Phillies. So my point being that most teams, if you told them, all right, we're going to take away, your number one position player, your cornerstone shortstop, and your starter, your ace Cy Young MVP type starter, people would be like, oh fuck, we're screwed. We're almost like we're not properly processing how detrimental that is because we're like, oh, only 2 guys are hurt, not fucking 10. So I think when you're that injured and that stops you from ever getting a rhythm, ever getting a cohesive lineup that can win and turn over and keep like winning series. I think that, and who knows, these guys come back from injury. I don't think, I think this is a year where there's going to be a lot of nagging injuries and a lot of prolonged bullshit. And I think that's, even when you're not necessarily on the DL anymore, I think to these guys, some of them are like, it probably feels like it's May to some of them. Like I'm just getting going here and I got to be in the middle of a pennant race. So I think that is, a huge part of 2021. And then, when you're expecting to get 25 home runs out of Conforto, 30 from Lindor, I was hoping to get like 20 out of Dom, maybe get 20 more out of JD Davis. Maybe McNeil, ups his power a little bit and hits like 18, 20. You're looking around at like 100 home runs combined from this chunk of the lineup, and you're getting like, I think I added it up the other night, it's like 38 total from all of those guys. I mean, and so that's where, I know some people are upset about the trade deadline, and that's why I wanted to have Meek on, and we'll talk about it with him, Phil, on Thursday, because he's angry and he's a very harsh critic, but he's not like over the top ridiculous like Frank. So I want to debate him because to me, if I'm Sandy or I'm Cohen rather, and I'm spending the money and I look around and I go, we can go all in right now, trade some pieces for the future and get, a starter, a reliever and Baez and have these Band-Aids. And I look around and I go, that's going to overcome all these injuries and all of this underperformance. I don't think there's a deadline ever that anybody has put together that could fix all of the 2021 Mets problems. It's just not our year. And I know people thought it was because we had that 4-game lead for so long and the NL East is bad, but I just don't. I guess it depends on your expectations. If you came into this year expecting to win the division easily and be a World Series contender, I just never thought that way. So the fact that we were, in first place for 120 days as it is, was a surprise to me. And I don't think that they were the team to make, those all out balls to the wall, go fix every problem, because I think that the problems are much deeper than that. I think they're going to take a full off season and not a mid-season, frenzy to address some of those like systematic problems.
And I think behind the scenes, I think if either, however that they're scouting themselves in terms of, hey, is this Conforto guy going to start fucking hitting here? Is McNeil going to become this 300 guy again? Plus, if whatever they might know about Jake or Lindor in terms of like, is he going to come back? Is he going to come back all right? Do you really want to give up, Mauricio? Do you want to give up all your prospects? You want to give up Alvarez? You want to give up Batty? All those kind of guys you're not going to get like Chris Bryant. You're not just going to load up, I don't think, on All-Stars. Now, are you telling me you're going to load up on guys that could, like, does Michael Conforto deserve to be in the lineup anymore? I don't think he does anymore. So I have no problem with that. But it's like, if the front office is like, this isn't our year and they just knew it before we did, or, other than the naysayers, then that's fine. I can live with that, because the problem with this team is we have these like stud prospects, or we have like these guys with either that are really young or like a Pete Crow Armstrong who was hurt. That was a big draft pick. And it's like, Brody spent the last 2 years just getting rid of all the guys we could have been trading this fucking deadline for shitty center fielders that couldn't hit. So that's just kind of that's kind of the state of the franchise right now. I think didn't that guy Woods Richardson, the Blue Jays, I think that was part of the deal for Berrios. I believe he was in that. So it's there are guys that are just not here now. Granted, we got Stroman for him, but it's not the perfect year for it. That's what I think the franchise believed.
I mean, I don't know where our fan base went crazy, but
I can tell you when, Kevin. It was right when Bernie Madoff fucking bamboozled the Wilpons. Yes. That's when we really lost our minds.
For sure. But I said this on Twitter. We were the abused dog. We were a battered puppy, and we got rescued. We became a rescue dog, and Cohen swooped in and grabbed us. And I know, and I know you did as well. We said here that this is all we've ever wanted, and so we're happy. And he's our owner. He owns us as the rescue puppy, and we now owe him our life. And I'm happy to have a warm bed to sleep in, and a warm meal at night, and a great lawn to run in and play, and all that. And the rest of the fan base, they gave Cohen 4 months of slack, and all of a sudden they're out on even Cohen, or just acting like two things. Acting like, one, we were primed to win the World Series. All of a sudden we're a spoiled World Series or bust sort of team. Yep. Bro, this team was not there. It was not ready. And also, as a fan base, since when do we just pencil in oh, well, we should win the division this year? What? And now for us to have gone through Wilpon life and know how bad it is, and now have a chance for something good here with Cohen, to be stamping our feet and crying like fucking Veruca Salt. I want it now. Why don't we do it right now? Shut the fuck up. It's year one. Have a little faith. Think about the big picture. Think about if you were the owner and you had this new, basically business to run. Would you be in year one, we've got to get to the top, go for broke, do whatever it takes? No. Why have we all of a sudden lost all of our perspective on what it means to be, owned by a shitty owner and a good owner, and what it means to be a World Series contender versus a young team that's trying to put it together? It's just somewhere along the lines, we lost our perspective on everything, all because we had a good first half. What?
Yeah, and listen, we're also the rescue dog, and if our owner he wrestles us or he makes a loud noise, we're gonna fucking cower because we've been it's an abused dog, right? That's the way that happens with the pooches, and we're the same thing. And I understand some of our fan bases is gonna lash out. If you are pissed off about Cohen and you said he blew this season for us and this was the year we should have won the World Series, if you could point me to your tweets in April and March where you're this team is going to the World Series, then okay, you feel you deserve to think that because you truly thought that. But it's funny, Steve Cohen said 3 to 5 years he wants the Mets to win the World Series, and people go, that's aggressive. Now we're saying 3 to 5 months. We need to have a World Series team.
Now they want one. They want it all done in 1 year.
And I'm going to say this.
Good.
I just want to say this. For anyone who says Frank was right or the people who were the haters were right, blah, blah, blah. If you say that, if you said the only people who are right are people that said in May, this team is cooked because Jacob deGrom is going to get hurt. Francisco Lindor is going to get hurt. Everyone's going to have career low years, and everyone's going to get hurt. Those people are right. You know who said that? Not a fucking soul. So not one person was right. So we're in this together. Root for your team to win or cancel and just ignore them. Either or, I think, is a very fine strategy right now. But it's the crazy fucking people that are calling Steve Cohen. And listen, the people that say Steve Cohen is a Wilpon, put your name on it, and you can do that. I'm going to say Steve Cohen is going to take us to a World Series, and it will play out, and it's going to be two of us. It's me versus you. It's Kevin versus you. It's the Cohentologist versus the fucking fatalists. I don't know what the fuck to even call them. They're not Wilponologists, and it's a fucking showdown. I'll take fucking Steve Cohen on. I want to be in Steve Cohen's corner to the day I die. If it's the Mets owner, if it's someone to make me money, whatever the fuck it is, give me Uncle Stevie over a ball. And there was 2 tweets I just wanted to tweet out before. I know you wanted to get to your point. I just wanted to mention these 2 tweets because I thought they were great. One was from Jordan Welch. The mighty Dodgers went 86-76 and finished second in their division the first year of the new ownership group. They didn't win a title until the 9th season of said group, which, by the way, was a Mickey Mouse title. It was during a fucking shortened season. We got Mets fans jumping ship 3/4 of the year, in 3/4 in year one, get lost. And then the other one was from Omar Minaya fan, who is like, he's just fucking fighting. He's fighting a legit battle against like the
What's he
Mets
saying?
fans.
I haven't seen him much. What's
so I just saw this one. I didn't see a bunch, but I saw this one. In the last 12 seasons, the Mets have won the NL East one time. In the other 11 seasons, they finished an average of 18 games back. This has been a great first season for the new ownership, despite an impossible number.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, how did we lose sight of that? An average of 18 games back. And now we're not only in it, but we were like a leader for a while. Like, how we're acting like Yankee fans. You got Tommy tried to fire Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman 10 fucking times this season, and now is all happy hunky dory with them, being like, oh yeah, we're back in it. Who cares? We're fine. This is Yankee fan shit. Have some fucking like humility and some perspective on what life used to be and what life is gonna be and how it is now. Because it's when people say to me, oh, I've seen this movie before, I've seen this script before. No, you fucking haven't. You have not seen this script where we get a fucking $300 million crown jewel shortstop. Now, has it paid off right away? No, it hasn't. But it's different. It's different when they sign Lindor. It's different when they go after Baez. They have already made a couple moves that signify the difference. Did they make all of them? No. Did they sign everybody? No. Did every move pan out the perfect way so far? Not yet. I get it. That's frustrating. But don't tell me it's here's really what happened too. There's two things in my mind that really killed us. One, Springer and Real Muto having great seasons. That sucks because I remember thinking like,
well, and Springer hasn't had a great season. He's having a great run right now because he's been hurt the whole season.
Yes, that's true. And also it's not even that. It's combined with how bad Conforto has been. Yeah. So it's like anybody else out there would have been better. Springer's doing enough. I think he's got like 13, 14 home runs, something like that. Conforto has like 4 home runs, right? It's like pathetically low. It's like really fucking bad.
I've tweeted at the mama like 4 or 5 times max. And again, I think Kalenic is catching him. Kalenic's right on the tail. When Kalenic hitting a home run the same night that the Mets fucking like it fell out of first, I was like, that is a baseball god shoving it. Turn that season sideways and stick it straight up. You can't do that.
No, but McCann has been terrible. And then Springer and Real Muto are good. And that's where everyone's like, well, where's Big Bad Stevie's wallet? He also said he wasn't going to spend like a drunken sailor. I remember at the time being like, I'm not too impressed with either of those guys. Like for the money they're looking for, stand pat. So obviously that's gone the wrong way. And then secondly, all of this, everything we're talking about here, whether, the moves you make at the deadline and the injuries and who's playing where and what, all that shit was pretty much all contingent upon an NL East, a bad NL East. Mm-hmm. We needed the NL East to remain mediocre through and through because no matter what, if we had a good deadline, if people got healthy, this team, that division has been like a 500 division. So we needed that to basically hold true. If that stayed to form, we then have a chance to be, the best of the mediocre division. But all of a sudden, the Phillies decide to go win 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 11 or whatever it is. If the Phillies all of a sudden are going to be like an actual good first place team, well, then we're fucked. I mean, there are certain things that are just like, if all of a sudden everything changes, think about it. It's basically like the tale of 2 seasons with the deadline. Everything's different. Everybody who was good, Taijuan Walker ran out of gas. He's fucking gone. We were operating on a razor thin margin of error, and the pitching was flawless the whole time and held up their end of the bargain. And the bullpen was dancing and getting out of trouble. And so every time we only scored 3 or 4 runs, we made it stand up. Now all that disappears. The Phillies decide to ball out of their fucking mind. That's a recipe for disaster, man. And couple it with continued injuries. It's a recipe for fucking disaster.
So much about baseball is timing and just the way things work out. Even like that collapse, it was just like the injuries or the way it all just shook out with, and then the year when CC just gets acquired and just mows down motherfuckers with the Brewers, and like the Phillies were an unstoppable object. And the Mets were, basically just a fucking like wounded animal in the middle of the road, and they just ran us the fuck over. And not even that, because the offense was that, because the pitching actually held up. And this is the other thing about the deadline. Oh, that I wish we got more bullpen help or starters. I don't, because that would have just been 1-0 losses, 2-1 losses. I don't need any more of those. I have enough of those. If you told me we needed to get hitting, all right, fine. If you tell me fuck Conforto, he's basically a sunk cost, you can get another right fielder, I'm down with that. You want to figure out another way to fix the offense through, a third base, that's fine. But don't tell me about bullpen or that's like a down the road if we're competing in September thing. And I'm not going to worry about that right now. But it's like the Phillies before this, they faced the Nationals, who I don't even know who's on the Nationals right now. Like I don't know who we're facing in the next series because they've all been traded. When we faced the Nationals like a month ago, Kyle Schwarber was Barry Bonds. It's just like
mashing.
That's baseball, Susan. It fucking sucks, but that is baseball. For better or worse, they faced the zombie Nats team. We now get to face a zombie Nats team. Now, do I feel confident? No, because we just lost to a zombie Marlins team. Those guys, the Marlins players that were hitting home runs and getting big hits, they were batting like 087, 110. They were batting fucking dog shit numbers. They're not good hitters. So it's like I can't have faith in like the Mets beating the Nationals, but the Phillies being a wagon, it was built on just beating teams that are just fucking going through shit right now. So, and listen, this is the other thing. Would you have felt better about this season if the Phillies are playing like this all year? And it's like, we're chasing the Phillies, wild cards probably out of reach because the Padres and the Dodgers are so good. But like, hey, we've been above 500. We're, 8 games above 500, second place. We've been chasing the Phils all year. I feel like people would kind of feel better about this team instead of just being in first over like a dead division the entire year, where everyone's like, the division sucks. We're not a real first place team. If we were like a real second place team, would people feel better about that?
Yeah. I don't get what would make Mets fans happy this year? Like what minus we just ran away with the division.
2006, basically. Yeah, everyone wants 2006 every year. I want it. But like the thing about 2006, you got to win in 2006. I said that to Chuck in the office the other day about the White Sox. I go, I love you guys. Sons of a rebate. You guys got to win this year, though, because you never fucking know when you're going to get these magical years where like you can't even see anyone in the rear view right now. That is the dream to have.
Now that's the argument that the really angry Mets fans are making, is that this was our year because, you sneak in and you never know what happens. And so I get that logic. With the White Sox, they got to win because they still have their ownership issues where it's like you can't bank on them. When we were in it in 06, it's like, and then 07, 08, when we were supposed to be back, it was so heartbreaking because it was like, this is not going to happen again. It took 7 more years. And then don't even talk to me about 2015 because that was like right fucking there. But when you have shitty ownership that they're just going to sit back and rest on their laurels because it's like, okay, we're a playoff team now. We're going to get our money. We're going to get the ratings, all that shit. We're fine. When 2015, forget about it. The Wilpons are probably just like, wow, we are fucking good for another decade. Thank God they end up moving on. If this was a Wilpon team, I would be like, we have to try to take advantage of this. It's a Cohen team. So it's year one. I think when we look back on this, hopefully it's a 3 to 5 year, win. And we say, remember year one? Year one was when we were riddled with injuries and we learned who can sink and who can float and who's the man and who's not. And we learned to get rid of this guy and to extend this guy. And we learned what this team really was about and how we needed to operate and all that shit. Year one is like the beginning of it and the building blocks and where you like learn what the franchise really is and what they are. And so I'm okay with that. Now, if you think that we're never going back and we're never going to contend again, I can understand you thinking that we needed that deadline to be bats and pitchers and relief pitchers galore. But to me, I think it's like, I think we were kind of playing with house money as it is. With Grant, given all the injuries and all that shit, we were benefiting from a shitty NL East. And to me, that's just not the year. When you look around and all you see is injuries and gross underperformance, that's not the hand to go all in on. You're going all in with 7-2. It's not worth it.
Exactly. And again, whatever and it's a cop-out move. I know we're like a podcast and like radio shows in general. You got to make your hot takes and stand by them. But it's like same with like should you fire Rojas? How much of it is his fault when the lineup doesn't come up short? And it drives you crazy when you see all your best bats on the bench because you're playing the lefty-righty splits, and then the guys don't do shit when all the righties don't do shit against the lefty.
Right.
But it's like I don't know what the front office thinks about. I don't know if Rojas actually makes the decisions. I don't know what the front office thought about DeGrom and Lindor and the team in general. Like, hey guys, let's not go all in on this because we have to wait till next year. We get these guys a little better. We have to get fucking Cano back on the books, and we have to figure out how it all works. So like again, and I think we'll talk about this with Phil on Thursday too. Like, what kind of moves would you have wanted to make? What kind of moves do you want to make in the future? It doesn't have to be exact, just kind of big picture. Like, fuck Conforto would be a move, right? So
yeah. I talked to him a little bit. We DM'd. I'll wait till he comes on for him to describe it in his own words. But he essentially was saying that everything that like the Braves and Phillies did, the Mets could have done. Mm-hmm. And he's not wrong. There was some, good players to acquire. I just personally I'll read off what I said to him just to kind of sum it all up. I said, if you really think you can get enough Band-Aids at the deadline to fix Lindor gone for the season or like a lingering oblique the rest of the season, Jake either out for the year or, needs to ramp up so that you maybe can get a handful of starts the final year. Conforto having the worst year of his career. McNeil batting like 60 or 70 points lower than where we expected him to be at this point in his career. Dom Smith is like a replacement player. JD Davis is hurt and playing like a bum as much as I love him. He's my guy. He's, not double Davis. Taijuan Walker running out of gas. And that one you didn't really know. That was kind of post deadline. So I won't hold him to that. But and then the rotation spots, the back end of the rotation has always been a crapshoot. Mm-hmm. And every time literally every time we got a good start from Peterson or Eichhoff or McGill, I was always like, dodged a bullet there. Yeah. And they somehow did that like 20 times through the rotation. But if, all of that, if that starts to turn sour, which it is, and some guys run into a wall, which they are, and some guys are injured, which they are, and some guys are having horrible, unfathomable years that even if they go off, it's still not going to be enough to turn around their year. You look around at all of that and you think you can do deadline moves that fix it, well, then you, brother, should be the GM, And so we'll have Meek on because he's, he laid out a few things for me that he thinks could fix all that. But to me, that's just like this is not, we're lucky to have been in first place because of the division. And I can't even imagine going up against the Dodgers and the Padres and some of these other teams. Can't even imagine what that would look like.
The Dodgers without Scherzer and Turner were terrifying, right? So maybe that was part of it. Maybe they saw the deals and yep, we're just going to punt till next year. I don't know. There's not a lot you could do in baseball with just fixing one little thing that's going to just make everything better. But as cream cheese bloggers,
you get like a Cespedes, by the way, which I think Baez was the move where you catch lightning in a bottle with Javi and he can kind of put the team on his back.
Yeah.
And, he really hasn't. He's basically individually responsible for the only 2 wins we have over the last 2 weeks. So maybe he's doing, his part. But, I did think there might have been some Cespedes magic there. It hasn't panned out. I think that deadline was pretty much okay. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, there's not a lot you could do just making one move. There's not usually a guy, a magic fucking player. Like in basketball, you get a guy and he just, get LeBron. He fucking changes the entire franchise. Baseball doesn't really work like that. Luckily, if you're a fucking blogger, little cream cheese, skinny fat kind of guy, what can you do to kind of just make yourself a little, make yourself look good, feel good, play good, earn good, whatever it may be? There's just one little thing you need to do. Just get that hair, Kev. Just get that fucking hair,
baby. Because when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh God, the fucking Mets lost again. We're absolutely terrible. My life sucks. And then I look in the mirror. I'm like, oh shit, I got the Fleischmann flow. I hit the shower. I start working in the shampoo. It's got that sudsy, good smell feeling. I hit the conditioner. I get out. I hit the sea salt spray. It gives me some nice grit. Smells like I'm at the beach. I pop my gummy to make sure that my hair stays thick and that it doesn't fall out. And then I work in a little bit of paste and a little bit of cream. I start to style it. And I walk out saying, guess what? I'm the biggest fucking loser in the world. My team sucks, but at least my hair looks good. I'd rather have my hair and be a Met fan than be a balding asshole on the fucking Yankees. So fuck off. Fleischmann, it's like a good head of hair. can help ease a lot of life's burdens. You know, you can always go, Pat, you got my hair. You know, any guy who's got a nice thick flow later in life has won the lottery and beat Mother Nature. And that's where Fleischman comes in to help that. You got to get lucky, but you also got to do the right things to keep that hair and to make that hair look good. So right now you can go to Fleischman Salon, FLEISCHMAN salon.com, click on shop, and use KFC as your promo code. Get 20% off.
The entire shop is 20% off. Use promo code BELIEVE. This includes the bundles. Yeah. They got the bundles. The bundles, so you get a lot of extra savings. You get the We've Got You Covered kit, has everything you need to keep your hair healthy. The Boys of Summer bundle includes essential styling products and the damn good hair vitamins that you were talking about to help your hair stay healthy. That's the fucking Yo Cespedes. You get some fucking Fleischman in your life, your fucking whole fucking from top to bottom, nose to your toes, baby. And Vladdy's Strike Zone is where you're going to look good thanks to Fleischman Salon, starting it at the top of the noggin right there. So FleischmanSalon.com, promo code BELIEVE.
It's like top down in your hair, your life, and your baseball. You got Cohen, you got Fleischman on top, and everything has to fall into place. It might take a little while, it might take a season or two, but we'll get there. So, I mean, in summation, how I'm feeling, it's like I know people think that I'm being – when people say, how can you, of all people, stay calm and be positive and think, you know, we're all right for the future? You used to be the guy beating the drum who hated this team, Mr. Negative, glass half full, empty, the whole nine. And I'm like, yeah, man, if I can do that, then how come you don't feel fucking stupid by being the doom and gloom guy? If the doom and gloom guy can now look at it and say, this sucks, no doubt, but hey, it's okay because of blah, 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 blah. We're going to be all right in the long run. If I can say that and you can't, then don't you feel like an overly pessimistic asshole? Because if I can, you can.
If you want to,
you can change. We all can change.
If you want to, and listen, if you're like, if you identify with Frank, if you're an acolyte of the tank and that's your thing, that's fine too. That is a dark place to go. That is the dark side. That's the Sith. If you like, Kevin was there. Kevin fucking flip sides like Anakin, to quote Mr. West himself, right? So he's on the light side of the Force, and the C button. I mean, like, it will probably get pushed by both of us at some point. I'll tell you, like, mentally. In my mind, I got to Consolani like this weekend. Like I was not getting like I wasn't even like mad anymore when they would fuck up. I was like, it doesn't even hurt, but I didn't give up on them. I was still like that 3 home run was like the ultimate cock tease, but I'm like, that's what this team does. They're fucking mean like that. The old team, the Mets earlier in the season, they would win those games. This team is mean. They fucking they bring you back in and then they gut you. Then they bring you to the hospital and then they fucking kill you. It's rude. That was the meanest thing I've ever seen a team do in like years. So, but we're not giving up. I said this. I am on the ship until basically it sinks. I am at least going through the California Gauntlet. I cannot give up on this team before the California Gauntlet because that could be something spectacular one way or the other. And you know what I'm doing? Me and Kev and everyone else who's staying on this ship, you know what we're going to call ourselves? We're the fucking Suicide Squad. We're going to LA. We're facing the Dodgers. We're facing the Giants here and there. We're going straight up. We know we probably aren't coming back in one piece. We're coming back in a pine box. But who gives a fuck? Because what the hell else are you going to do?
And if you fucking desert us and you leave and you abandon, we're blowing your fucking brains up. You're out. You're gone. Go ahead. Go be Frank. And we're blowing you up. You're ride or die with us until the very fucking bitter end. And to me, here's what I genuinely think, because, you know, if it was a Wilpon team and a couple different circumstances, I definitely would have consoled over this sweep. But I do, and I'm a lot of people are kind of accusing me of like being phony about it, like, oh, you would have consoled, but you're just doing it to stay positive or to go against Frank. My solemn promise is to always be honest about the console.
Yep.
And there is a genuine piece of me that says, like I said, it's a 50. Now it's like a 48 or 49 game sprint. We might have Jake, Lindor, and possibly Syndergaard come back. And that is enough for me to be like, what if those guys just ball out of control? And what if the Phillies peaked a little bit too early? If the Phillies are just going to go on and play like awesome ball the rest of the way, then we're fucked. There are certain things that I'm just like, yeah, if that happens, then we are completely screwed. But the Phillies have 100 and something games proving that they're pretty mediocre. You know, their run differential, the Mets and Phillies run differential are both like it's like minus like 15. The Braves are at like plus 70. And so there's somehow on the outside looking in too. So I don't know. There's just enough evidence of the division being mediocre. And if those two teams and the moves they made at the deadline really do propel them and they're going to be much better, then we're fucked. But I think that we can have a run of the next 6 weeks of the NL East staying somewhat mediocre and the Mets get healthy. You know, it's a couple ifs and a lot of things that need to break your way. But I do genuinely think there's a small but like literal possibility that it happens. So I'm holding off on my console.
There you go. We're the and if anyone else is in the Suicide Squad, let us know. It's fucking. We're going in. We may not make it out alive. We're probably not going to make it alive. We're going to wish we died weeks earlier with everyone else. But there's no fucking like. And again, meaningful games in September. If this team just like can just stay within like 2, 3, 4 games, as crazy as it sounds, there's no reason why you play all these division guys play each other. You're not going to want to be like, I'm canceled on them. Now, if this offense stays the way it is, you're not going to care about it. Yeah, I don't want to watch it.
If the Phillies continue playing like they do, and we bomb in LA, and we're down like 7 games all of a sudden, it's a wrap. But if you stay close, you know it's like Angels in the outfield, bro. Could happen.
It could happen.
That's our version. Our little group home kid would be waving his arms, going, "You gotta believe."
Gotta believe.
Oh, fuck this.
Hold on. I got to hit my broadcast.